Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and now I want to talk to you about how you can transform your perception of other people, and this can help you to get more control of your thoughts and of your consciousness, and to kind of absorb all those things back into your being that you've been rejecting for so long. So if you have people in your life that you don't like generally just don't like, and you have a chance to not meet with them, you just don't do it. That's natural. There are people who either are not interesting to me, or they annoy me, or I think they're stupid, or I think they're mean, or whatever, and I just don't hang out with them. I just don't. If you have people in your life that you hang out with that still do things that you don't like, then there's a reason behind it. So I had this person in my life that acted really I don't even know how to say it. Like something I would have just expected people to do in the movies, completely stupid stuff, being negative towards women in general, and being, all I want to have I'm cool kind of way, and I don't allow you in my circle because you're not cool enough. These kind of behaviors that I normally would expect from undeveloped teenagers, but I had them in people around me, and I left this particular, I've done this before, and I've especially done it with men, and I've had these people in my environment. It's not like I had a relationship with them or anything, but I still felt like there's something good in them. There's perception of me that they're angels, or that they're something out of this world specific and very, very good. So I put them on a pedestal, and I needed to put them on a pedestal because otherwise I wouldn't have wanted them in my life, But there's something that draws me into these people, and the reason, and I feel like they're these angels, and they have the reasons for being so mad. They have the reasons to acting this way because they're so sensitive and so on. You can justify anything. If you feel a certain way, your mind will find a reason for it. That's just how it works. So this is how it felt very often. And this is also a coping mechanism we pick up as kids, because if you have let's say a parent who's not giving you what you want, of course you're gonna justify it somehow and explain why they're acting this way, because otherwise it wouldn't mean that you're being abandoned. But now that we're adults, we can we can deal with those feelings and go through the motions and transform and use that pain to grow and to finish childhood in a way through all those things. And this is also something that came to my mind the last week, but that I've done back in the day when I had this huge transformation, is I stopped perceiving the person I used to perceive them. So I saw that person as being, on this pedestal, as being this angel, of being this perfect person. And the reason why they're being negative towards me and mean towards me is because I'm flawed, and I'm not good, and I'm not good enough, and I don't deserve better, and so on. So this is how I felt. Mind this to say, of course, this is not realistic, so on, but this is how I felt, so this is my reality at that point. Point blank. There's nothing to sugarcoat it. That's how I was. So, so what I did, and what was the only thing that really helped me, because at first I tried to convince that person, I tried to be even more nice, I tried to be even more kind, I tried to be even more understanding, and it all backfired on me. But what actually happened at that point was me to change my perception of that person. Me to just take a step back, cut out all those emotional things, and just logically say to myself, well, I'm a human being, as is that person is a human being. We're all equal in this. And I could be the ugliest soul in the universe that is not worth anything. Nobody is allowed to treat me that bad. You know what I mean? Because especially if somebody is an angel, then they're supposed to be good to you and to accept your flaws and all those things. And so what I did at that moment is, because it was difficult for me to change the perception of my life, like just like that, is I changed my perception of that person. I told myself, well, the way you think that person is not true. You made a mistake. You lose. Like, that person is just not who you think they are. They cannot be. Because if they were an angel, then they wouldn't treat you like this. They're just as flawed as each one of us, and they're perfect in their ways, but so are you. You know, and it didn't feel like this. It was kind of like a lie in a way, that I was great. Like, I still felt like I'm not worth it, but it was much easier to change my perception of that person. That step was kind of a lot easier. Because and just like that, I realized, well, that person that I imagined all this time just doesn't exist. It's very much into this narcissistic, codependent play. That definitely was that kind of relationship. And a lot of, for the longest time, I read and watched a lot of things on narcissism to get like grasp of those things, and this has really helped me, those concepts, because it's all concepts that kind of like help us to go through those things, and it's nothing really concrete, real, but it's just metaphors that help us to deal with that situation, get out of it. But so that's what I felt. I felt like this person I imagined them to be, they're not real. They beat me in a way. Like, I accepted defeat because that person was able to what's the word, like to lie to me, or to give me the impression that they're this awesome person and they're not. And the reason why I didn't believe that was possible is because I didn't think that people would actually do something as evil, give me the impression that they have feelings for me, that they're that they are good people and so on, just to like get a kick out of it, and just to get feel better for the moment. Of course, this is all based on their pain they're going through life, but I still didn't believe that it was possible for them to do that. And at the same time, I felt the entire time that I felt that person was an angel, and that person thought I was deceiving them, I was lying to them, I was not being honest. When I made that switch, I realized, well, that says more about them than it says about me. And the way that I feel that person is being honest, that person says more about me than it says about them. And so all those thoughts allowed me to understand that that person is not who I thought they are. It feels like a defeat to the ego at some point, because you realize that what you held on for the longest time, that this is a good person, and you have to like get through to them, that your perception was wrong. And it's a defeat to the ego, that you're wrong. It's not like wrong, oh, I thought that that answer to that question was wrong. It's like a feeling of really being wrong about life. It's really a loss to the ego. And but once I understood, okay, that person is not who I think they are. That person has like negative parts to them, and I will first off be forceful and not allow that person to put those feelings on me anymore. Like, you have to do that. No matter how you feel, you're gonna kill that person by doing that. They will figure it out. That's what I realized so often we don't like to go on those mental depths, because we feel like, how we gonna make it out of that? But what is actually the biggest pain, what leads to depression, what leads to suicide and so on, it's not this that you kind of like fight yourself through those feelings and you get out, but that you have this belief of, I'm being a bad person, like the belief I had, I'm being a bad person, and then I try everything to prove that that belief is not true by convincing other people that I'm good. Okay, but you will never win, because your belief is that you're a bad person. So what you have to do is you have to lose. That's also something I went through this, but that specifically said, I heard it from Bentinho Massaro, is this, you have to lose. You have to understand, I'm not a good person. That's something you accept at that point. From that perspective, from that believe, yeah, you lost. You are a bad person. Or your belief always wins. So you have to like kind of like accept that. And once you accept that, that's when things get better. But all those bad things, like when you get depression, when all those things are happening, it's because you fight against that belief. You fight it. That's the painful thing. But what I did at that person when I became forceful is I confronted them with everything they put on me to make them themselves feel better. So there was no denying it. Like he lost at like that moment when I started like fighting back, and I knew it. That's the reason why I didn't do it the whole time. How often are we in a situation where we feel when I say the truth, that person will feel bad about themselves, and then what's gonna happen? Well, now that I've gone through that, and once I've like had faith and courage, and I thought, well, I have no other choice. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if he's gonna kill himself. I don't know. It got to such a point. Like I was really, really scared, but it was of course just a complete illusion. Nothing happened. That person completely transformed themselves. They felt that pain at that moment, and they just changed. But I was so good at pinpointing their pain and addressing it to them that they had to accept defeat, and then they could build themselves up on a higher level. There's no more fighting it. Depression and all those negative thoughts, they come from fighting it. So before I was able to kind of transform myself, or as a side product, I realized that I had the wrong perception of that person who was there. So because once I changed my perception of that one person, everything changes. Everything changes. It's not like your life stays the same way and all you do is you change your perception of that one person. Everything changes in accordance, because if in the beginning you have a certain perception about that person, it's because you also have a similar perception about everything else in life. But you can kind of like through pinpointing it down like that, you can start the momentum and make it much easier on you to do the change. And so I told myself, well, that is not an angel. That angel that I thought existed does not exist. That is a normal person, nothing special, because apparently they also do mean things, and I'm going to treat them like completely normal human being. They have to deal with my entire truth and see what's going to happen. And once I did that, I saw that it does have an effect, and I changed it as well. Because once I didn't put people on pedestals anymore, I allowed myself to do much more things that are good for me and made me feel good about myself. And I don't, now that I feel good and I have all those like mental freedoms, I don't feel like I'm something better than some people. And that's something I used to think. Like I used to have this thing of, well, this person should treat me better because I'm cooler than them. And the same way I felt about that person, I kind of like also felt about other people who I thought were special. This is not a nice thing to admit, but that's the truth. I didn't really realize that, but it was happening, and now I don't feel like this anymore. I really feel that every person, no matter how they experience life, no matter how conscious they are of their life or everything they do, their life is as valid and the experience is as valid as mine. If they're having an experience that is painful, I don't think that's a less valid experience than what I'm having, because everybody's supposed to do everything on their own pace and have the freedom to choose how they experience life. That's one of the best things about this life, is that we have that choice of freedom, and this choice of freedom doesn't always lead to positive things, but I accept that person and respect that person around me enough to give them the choice the freedom to express their, to have the choice of freedom. That's how they're living their life is completely up to them, and that's a respect you give them. That's a respect of, I'm not telling you how to live your life. See, when I talk about here in the videos, it's on a completely different level. Like I might say things like to people around me, but I don't expect them to be a certain way for me to accept them. It's not like, oh, I know you're this wonderful person, why are you acting this way? you know that at that point you're not accepting that person, because you're saying, I think you're there, I think you're that angel, and you're not acting like an angel. So I'm not accepting that person, that person is right now, because right now they're the way they're acting. So accept that. Give them the respect of accepting the way they are. When they show you who they are, believe them. It's better for you, it's better for them, and in the long run, it's the best thing you can do. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm always looking forward to your comments and your questions. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel and you like the content, please subscribe. Like the video if you do, and talk to you next time. Bye. I feel that I'm in control of my future, of my reality. I'm the main character in my movie, and I want other people to be the main character. Turmoil if they want to get to a better place, and so it does happen that some people will react